gunshot going down here in Frog Bottom. When I say it's 100 cops down here, it's 100 of them down here.
Hello folks, Richard Moore here. So I'm going to give you, I've just had this story and I want to pass it along. Mind you that you're going to be getting a lot of it as I'm getting it. But I thought it was important because it's the weekend and I wanted to go ahead and lay some groundwork here. And so some things can't wait. And so this is not going to wait. It's waited long enough. And I'm talking about Austin Hines, 19 years old, was gunned down, murdered by law enforcement in Lowndes County, Mississippi. April the 1st, 2020. I believe I'm correct on that. Yeah. Austin has left behind brothers and sisters, grandparents, his parents. And folks, this is never easy. It's never easy because only the parent can fully feel the pain of losing a child. As I've said before, I'll say it again, that no parent should ever have to outlive their child, especially under these type of circumstances. And so my deepest sympathy goes out to Jason and Tabitha, his mom and dad, and I'm just going to tell you that even you have the wrongful death suit. I've got a copy of it. I have not had a chance to read it. Well, you know, I do have a copy of it, and I will read it. And there's other things, and this is developing, that I will read as well. And I'll make sure that capable journalists and so forth outside of the Golden Triangle get Austin's story as well. I can tell you that many times people look and they say they blame God, and the devil never gets his dues. And I think we're quick to judge on that because God hadn't got his final say in everything. In time, it will get, your life will go on. Your life will go on. Will you get past it or over it? No. And for those on the outside that look and say, well, I'll be glad when they just get over it and get on with their lives. And ladies and gentlemen, until you've had a part of your life taken from you, and to expect someone to just get on with their life is ludicrous. The best you can do is support this family and be there. The grieving process it's always present. And that's okay. That's okay. But we set that grieving process aside for a second and understand that that day, Austin's last day, he had no chance. He had no chance. The commercial dispatch, and that's a joke. That's the Hines family that control, obviously, all the media down there, and they don't tell it like it is. According to Columbus Police Chief Fred Shelton, I don't know if he's still the chief. I think that every single law enforcement officer attached to this that were involved. I've got footage from another individual, I believe his last name was Phillips, that was there just immediately. And he states there's hundreds of law enforcement. Now, when you see a scene where there's hundreds of, or appears to be, it's what he said, and I looked at the footage, and it's a lot. That's usually indicative every time to a law enforcement official, them getting out that an officer is in danger. Yeah. That's usually the show, and especially when an officer has gunned down a 19-year-old in gangland style, and they say that one of the deputies, I believe it was the deputies, one of them's on administrative leave, and there's the cops, their neighborhood perverts out here trying to disrupt what I'm doing. Blue lives matter in Mississippi. But you can rest assured, every lie and every cop that has culpability, and I'm telling you, it runs downhill. Doesn't matter to me if the chief was there or not. Happened on your watch. You need to go to the house. That matter of fact, that whole toilet needs to be flushed with some people that can bring respect to that badge and that flag they dare wear on their shoulder. They said he wouldn't pull over, so this was a high-speed chase. They claimed that he had maybe hit a couple of vehicles. And they said he was Hines. This was, who is Hines? I mean, they said Hines was armed. I'm trying to figure who was the officer that said Hines was. Lowndes County Sheriff's Office released a press release saying that he was pointing a weapon at a deputy. Well, we now know that's a damn lie. Body cam footage has not been released, I guess due to the obvious legal issues. What I find alarming is I read where Mississippi Bureau of Investigation was asked to come in and do something, and this is more of the same, ladies and gentlemen. More of the same. They are there to back the play of the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department. So if anybody thinks, well, MBI is going to get to the bottom of it, then you are sadly mistaken if you think that's the deal. If you think that's the deal. Our chief law enforcement officer in the state of Mississippi is Attorney General Lynn Fitch, who made it clear multiple times when complaints, and I have them right here on my desk, and I quote, they said, Mr. Moore, in response to your alleged violations committed against you by law enforcement, violating your civil and constitutional rights, we don't want to see any evidence, and we will not investigate. So for those that think that the Attorney General of the state of Mississippi she took an oath. We assume that it's for all citizens, to protect all citizens. Think again. Think again. If that being the case, which it is, then there's only one jurisdiction, because this community-oriented policing program that targets undesirables in a community and neighborhood because maybe they did a rap song about popping a cap or something like that, and law enforcement kept harassing Austin about taking it down. They didn't like it. We know they hate free speech of any kind. I'm a living example of how they hate it. Unless you're bowing and first responders and you have sold your soul and accepted the blue lie as your Lord and Savior, then your days are numbered. So we've got Austin here, he's a survivor. They don't like that. He's a nonconformist. They hate that. He was expressing and being a normal teenager. And that was unacceptable when you go to this obscure spot in the road in Lowndes County called Caledonia. Then that can take you into where this nightmare possibly began for Austin. So as it came to me that he was targeted, of course, by the Columbus Police Department. He was shot over 15 times and did not have a weapon. One account here said that he tried to get in the car with one of them. Folks, let me tell you, ain't nobody in their right mind buying that hogwash. Okay? He's running from the police. So when he gets out of the car, he looked like he weighed 90 pounds soaking wet. And so he's going to run and jump in the police cruiser of some big fat, got too much garb on, extra tight outfit, bulletproof vest, not jump in the damn car with him and point a gun at him. Which we know none of that happened. His family didn't even get the dignity, the dignity of being able to properly mourn their child, because it was a fatal shot, but he was also shot in the face with a shotgun by law enforcement. Yeah. This is when this community-oriented policing and this culture of corruption with law enforcement, they get triggered. And when they get triggered, they can't help themselves. And then, after it cools down, they've got WCBI and the Columbus Dispatch, the sheriff, MBI, the police chief, and probably some waddling preachers and everything else giving different stories, trying to run cover for these individuals that need to be off our streets and tried as the criminals they are. And it'll take federal intervention. We're in the dirty South, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, it took threats and promises from Bobby Kennedy because we wasn't going to integrate. And they're still mad about that. They like doing it their way. The face of the new Ku Klux Klan is an all-inclusive. Uncle Tom's working right beside the white supremacist Freemasons that call the dirty South home. And they've got a whole different set of laws that they operate off of, and they could give a tinker's damn about the Constitution or anything else. 6 months before Austin quit school, the town marshal in Caledonia would go to school every day and have Austin brought to the conference room for them to question Austin about his parents. This is called a Stasi report. Where do they do that at, folks? Now, when we look at Uvalde, Texas, the shooting and Sandy Hook, this is all a product of community-oriented policing. They target the children in schools. This is a textbook example of a child. He was a child. They murdered a child, was targeted, and was interrogating him when he finally quit school. I can't imagine being able to stay in school. They force children to quit school, to drop out, and they force people into homelessness, unemployment, and so forth. I haven't read anything about his father, but I've just bits and pieces, and it seems to me like that he can attest to what I'm saying right now. I wanted to read something that he did one of his last posts on Facebook. I know I've got it here. Let me get to it. So the 15 bullets weren't enough, and then they shot him in the head with a shotgun. That demonstrates absolute malice, hate, and anger. One shot is too much. Why were they chasing him? What was the big deal? They already had an axe to grind. He was public enemy number one. We have to extinguish the life of this young man. So they're in a fervor fit to do this. I'm trying to find he said he posted made this post. He was asking his friends on Facebook to imagine being 16. This was 5 days before he died. No home, no food, wearing the same clothes, and being made fun of. And how, if we're going through that tough stuff, how would you feel? He went on to say, I'm fine. I'm happy to be alive. That he was going to become someone important. So his little brother and his dad would be living in a home he was going to buy them. And he said that they'll always be full and have new clothes because he's fine with the little he had. If his family was taken care of. That was one. Well, folks, let me tell you. I think that all the things that Austin dreamed about and aspired to accomplish, even though that was snuffed out, will in fact become a reality. But it will come at a price that no one ever expected to be paid. It's not bittersweet, but his words of what he wanted to do. And he made it clear that he was happy. He also made it clear he wasn't suicidal. And there are so many young rappers that have those tendencies. He didn't demonstrate that. And I say young rap artist. I'm not listening to any of his music and don't know if there is any music. Moreover, I don't know if he ever did a song. I just got that in passing. But this is what I do, and I'm gonna hedge my bets on that. I'm right. These things only happen for a reason. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Just a few months ago, my friend, Brian Edwards, was riding a bicycle in broad daylight and was run over and killed like a dog. This was not an accident, ladies and gentlemen. I said it then, I'm saying it now. And they say in the Columbus Dispatch, the MBI is investigating. Wow. It's the same song and dance. And it will be the same song and dance until those people, the people in Lowndes County, take a stand and demand and quit pulling the lever for these thugs and criminals, the sheriff and chief of police. It's happened on their watch. You get the right man or woman in there running this deal. You don't have cops out there gunning down and murdering our young in the streets like rabid animals. But that's what they're doing in Lowndes County. You have to look any further at Austin Hines, at Brian Edwards. There's more. There's another one, another young man. It's around the same time that Austin died. That died as well, and it's folks. It staggers the imagination. It boggles your mind to try to wrap your mind around this. Because when you turn the news on, or when you read the paper, you get some BS story. And people are bowing down and worshiping these criminals as if it were Mother Teresa or something. And I can tell you, it's not. It may be closer to that, the saint from Calcutta, but I can tell you one thing. God's not in it. No, he's not. This is there's no reason for this. For us to have, for me to have these stories that I have to do, and you think that somehow the parents are just lying and they've got it wrong? Because let me tell you, when I give these stories, I'm on the same page as the parents. Thank you. How can you gaslight and marginalize a parent when their loved one has been murdered in cold blood? And so many people are working and struggling and shuffling to try to cover their ass. Why are they even having to go to court? Why are we having to have a public display of all this stuff? Why haven't those people come wrong and take their lick? And why has the Department of Justice come in with a paddy wagon and loaded these sorry assholes up and cart them off somewhere to Leavenworth until they could be tried? And I'm dead serious. MBI is not going to do it. If you think Attorney General Lynn Fitch cares about your son or your daughter and their safety as it involves crimes committed against citizens by law enforcement, then you are sadly mistaken. So, folks, I've given you just the opener of a story that I'm working on. This is not the story. You've got the primer, just the basic foundation of what happened, the life and death of Austin Hines. It's it's about all I can say. It's about all I can say. And Lowndes County law enforcement, you represent. Now I know that there's a chance that there's someone in there that doesn't fit this description. And the reason I say I don't know who it is, because this blue live silence, how many of these not bad apples have stepped forward and made a public statement about the high crimes and misdemeanors behind closed doors and what they're really doing? Oh, they hadn't. At least they become victims as well. But let me tell you what, you good apple, when you took that job and when you took that oath, that is no longer your decision to make. You took an oath to protect and serve, and not protect and serve and hide your own best interest. So therefore, you're just as culpable as these scoundrels, as these SOBs, these pathetic pieces of humanity that pulled the trigger and killed a 19-year-old and then said he had a gun, said he was trying to get in the car with them. Folks, that's bullshit. You know it and I know it. I want you to share this video and share it until the cows come home around this globe. Till we bring a spotlight on North Mississippi, we expect more of the same. I stay under attack because I dare speak out and speak up against this corruption. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it until we see justice. And I can tell you what, friend, we have not seen justice. We do not know equal protection. Not in the state of Mississippi. And moreover, because of this program nationwide, it's high time that changes. Let me hear from you. My contact information is in the comment section. Also a link to the Brady list. And for any person that has any information on bad cops, bad lawyers, bad prosecutors, bad judges, and you can report this anonymously, this will become a part of their permanent record. And this is exculpatory evidence and absolutely can be used in a court of law to demonstrate that this person has no business marrying two goats because they have no integrity. This is how we level the playing field. Let me hear from you. I'm completely supported by viewers and followers and listeners. I appreciate you. My prayers, I'm asking everyone that sees this to keep this family, this mother and dad, in your prayers. Right now, they have no idea what's taking them from day to day. How they can even get up and make it through a day is a major task. It's not something they want to sit around and talk about. My God, it's too big. It's too bad. They have been targeted by those in a position of trust. And I think it's high time that the real believers, that God's children, support this family and support justice. And justice is not sweeping anything under the rug. Until next time, God bless you.